There comes a time in life when silence becomes your greatest weapon. You've been misunderstood. You've been disrespected. You've walked into rooms where your presence shook the floor, but your voice was never heard. And that's okay, because you weren't made to beg for attention. You were made to command it without uttering a single word. See, the most powerful storms don't make noise until they arrive. And some of the strongest people are the ones who say the least, but move the most. You don't need to explain yourself to those who already made up their mind about you. You don't have to prove your worth in environments that never deserved your energy. Real power, the kind that can't be faked, lives in the walk, in the stillness, in the way your eyes lock on purpose. You don't win by shouting. You win by being the kind of person that makes others rethink their decisions just by showing up. The world doesn't respond to noise, it responds to presence. And today, I want to teach you how to own your presence, to win your battles, and to walk in silence so loud it echoes through every soul that ever doubted you. You ever walk into a room and feel something shift, like the air got heavier or lighter depending on who stepped in? That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's energy. That's presence. Every single person carries a frequency. Some people enter the room and they drain it. Others enter the room and they lift it. And the question you got to ask yourself every time is, which one are you? See, long before you speak, long before you smile, long before you shake a hand, your energy has already spoken on your behalf. It walked in with you. It introduced itself before you even made eye contact. And the truth is, people decide who you are before you even open your mouth. So you don't need to be loud. You need to be aligned. You don't need to prove anything. You need to embody everything you stand for. Your walk, your posture, your spirit. It tells people whether they should respect you, fear you, follow you, or challenge you. That energy you carry, it's louder than 1,000 words. So don't underestimate it. Train it. Master it. Control it. Because when you control your energy, you control the room. Now let's talk real. You ever notice how some people got nothing to say, but somehow they say everything just by being there? They don't need to beg for attention. They don't crack jokes. They don't perform. They sit there grounded and you can feel their weight. That's because presence is not about performance. It's about truth. When you carry truth inside you, it creates gravity. People are drawn to authenticity like a magnet because truth calms the chaos. In a world full of noise, someone with stillness stands out. It's the calm ones, the ones who move with quiet conviction, who shift the energy in any situation, not because they're trying to take control, but because they already have control of themselves. And when you master yourself, you change everything around you. So you can't fake real. You can't imitate peace. You can't perform purpose. That's why the most powerful energy is silent. It doesn't seek approval. It doesn't chase applause. It just walks in like it belongs because it does. And when you carry that kind of energy, people feel it before they understand it. But here's the thing. Energy is not something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. It comes from what you believe about yourself when no one's watching. It comes from how you talk to yourself in the silence. When life hits hard, when you've been overlooked, when you've been told you're not enough, what energy do you respond with? See, anyone can walk with confidence when life is easy, but real energy, true presence, that's forged in the dark. That's built in the days when you got every reason to break down, but you choose to rise anyway. Your energy is the result of your internal discipline. It's the product of what you feed your spirit. That's why the ones with true power don't always look the loudest. They look the most centered, because when the storm hits, they are the calm. That calm doesn't come from pretending, it comes from preparation. You don't bring peace to a room unless you first found peace in yourself. So don't just ask, what am I saying to others? Ask, what am I saying to myself? Because that's where the energy begins. Let's be honest. Some rooms aren't ready for your energy. And that's okay. You don't have to shrink to fit small spaces. You don't have to tone yourself down to make others comfortable. When your energy is authentic, when it's rooted in purpose, it will always challenge those who haven't found their own. That's not your fault, that's your light. And sometimes your light exposes other people's shadows. But don't dim it. Don't apologize for it. Just because they don't know how to receive it doesn't mean you should stop radiating it. See, power respects power. And those who are truly powerful will recognize what you carry, even in your silence. So instead of asking, do they like me? Ask, did I show up with integrity? Because when you carry energy that's rooted in truth, you stop trying to impress and you start to impact. That's the difference. Presence isn't about being accepted. It's about being undeniable. So if your energy doesn't fit in, maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe you're there to raise the standard. Now, let me tell you something personal. Some of the most painful moments in life taught me how to carry myself differently. When you've been betrayed, humiliated, or dismissed, it changes how you walk. But not in a way that makes you bitter, in a way that makes you better. Your pain can either harden you or empower you. And I chose to let it empower me. Every disappointment became fuel. Every loss became a lesson. And over time, I stopped walking into rooms looking for validation and started walking in carrying revelation. I realized I didn't need to be understood to be impactful. I didn't need to be celebrated to be consistent. I just needed to show up with the same strength every time, everywhere. That's energy. When you stop being reactive and start being intentional, your energy starts to move differently. You become someone people remember, not because you spoke the loudest, but because you moved with something real, something grounded, something they couldn't quite explain, but couldn't ignore either. Think about the people you would admire the most, the ones who don't chase the spotlight, but somehow always end up in it. That's not by accident. That's by alignment. When your energy aligns with your purpose, you become magnetic. You don't have to scream your worth. People sense it. You don't need to announce your goals. People watch you manifest them. You become a living example. That's why I say, master the energy. It's not just about showing up with strength. It's about showing up with spirit, that quiet power, that presence that says, I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. That's the kind of energy that shifts the room. That's the kind of energy that silences doubters. And the most powerful part, you don't have to change who you are to have it. You just have to remember who you are. Correct. You have to own who you are. That's where the energy lives. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have that kind of energy, yes, you do. You just forgot. Life has a way of burying it under pain, under noise, under expectations, but it's still in you. That light, that strength, that presence, it's been waiting for you to stop doubting it. Waiting for you to stop giving your energy away to fear, to people who don't deserve it, to places that drain you. You got to reclaim it. Get still, get real, and get honest about who you've been and who you want to be. Energy doesn't lie. So the more honest you are with yourself, the more aligned your energy becomes. You start walking different, talking different, being different. And without saying a word, you begin to speak volumes. People will feel your energy before they hear your story. And that's why you must own it. You're not here to blend in. You're here to light it up. Without shouting, without fighting, just by being exactly who God made you to be. Every day is a new opportunity to decide what kind of energy you're going to bring into the world. Will you carry fear or faith? Will you walk in anxiety or authority? Because your energy either serves your purpose or sabotages it. And let me tell you, people may not say it to your face, but they feel when your energy is off. They feel when you're trying too hard. They feel when you're pretending. So drop the act, bring the truth. The raw, real version of yourself is what the world needs most. Not the polished version, not the filtered version, the real one. That's where your energy becomes unstoppable. Because when you stop performing and start presenting yourself authentically, you become unforgettable. And that energy, it doesn't need words. It doesn't need explanation. It walks in and everything around it pays attention, not because it asked to, but because it earned it. And the beautiful thing is, your energy can evolve. You're not stuck with the energy you had last year, last month, or even yesterday. Every time you grow, every time you heal, every time you choose courage over comfort, your energy levels up. That's how you change a room, not by faking it till you make it, but by facing yourself until you free yourself. And once you do that, no one can take that from you. Once you do that, no one can take that from you. Not opinions, not rejection, not silence. Because you don't carry your power in what they say, you carry it in what you know. And when you know who you are, You start walking with a different rhythm, a rhythm that makes people sit up straighter, a rhythm that brings peace to chaos. That's the kind of energy that wins without a word. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't beg for space. It is the space. It commands without controlling. Let me tell you something that can change your entire life. You don't have to react to everything. Not every insult needs a clapback. Not every lie deserves a correction. Not every disrespect requires a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Because silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And action, real action, that speaks volumes. You want to shake a room? You want to silence your critics? You want to prove something to the ones who doubted you? Don't yell. Don't explain. Don't try to convince them. Just move. Let your progress do the talking. Let your discipline do the talking. Let your results say everything your mouth doesn't need to. Because the world listens loudest when you stop trying to be heard and start being seen. See, people will always try to pull you into emotional warfare. They'll test your patience. They'll poke your pride. They want to see if you'll fold, if you'll break, if you'll lose your cool. And the truth is, you will be tempted to react. But reaction puts them in control. Action puts you in control. Reaction is based on emotion. Action is based on vision. You don't need to match their energy. You need to rise above it. You don't prove who you are by arguing. You prove it by becoming everything they said you couldn't be. You got to be so focused on building your future that their nonsense becomes background noise. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you. You keep moving. You keep building. Because nothing silences hate like undeniable success. Oh, understand this. When your life becomes the answer, you don't have to explain the question. You don't have to justify your decisions to people who were never rooting for you. You don't have to clap back at folks who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to waste energy trying to change minds that are already made up. Let your actions drown their doubt. Let your glow blind their shade. The higher you rise, the quieter your mouth can become. You don't win with noise. You win with consistency. And if they think you're quiet because you're weak, let them keep thinking it. You'll be busy building a life that proves them wrong. Every day you choose discipline over drama, you grow. And one day, they'll have to watch everything they mocked become everything they envy. Now, I know it's not easy. It's hard when you're misjudged. It's painful when you're overlooked. It hurts when people throw dirt on your name and you know you did nothing wrong. But maturity is learning that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Growth is learning that your peace is worth more than your pride. And real power is when you look your enemy in the eye. Not with rage, not with revenge, but with silence. Because your focus is louder than their noise. When you stop reacting, you start directing. You become the author of your own story. And no one gets to hold the pen but you. Think of the strongest people you know. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive. The ones who move with purpose, with clarity, with grace under fire. They've mastered the art of silence. They've learned that revenge isn't screaming louder, it's shining brighter. That's the level you got to reach. Where you don't just ignore the noise, you outgrow it. Where you don't just resist the drama, you rise above it. You see, every time you react out of anger, you give your power away. But every time you act with purpose, you reclaim it. So be the one who doesn't flinch. Be the one who doesn't fold. Be the one whose moves speak for themselves. That's how kings and queens operate. There's a reason people try to provoke you. They want to pull you down to their level. Misery loves company. Chaos loves chaos. But you're not here for that. You're here to rise, to build, to evolve. And that means you can't let petty people rent space in your mind. You can't afford to be reactive. You're on a mission. You've got goals to chase, dreams to build, lives to impact. So stay focused, stay grounded. And remember, nobody can argue with the results. Nobody can debate the truth written in your success. So make that your answer. Not your words, not your rants, not your reactions, your results. Every time you walk away from the drama and walk towards your destiny, you win. Every time you stay silent and stay working, you win. Every time you let your progress be your protest, you win, and the world will notice. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they'll see what you were building while they were talking, and they'll realize you were never ignoring them. You were just too busy evolving. That's power. That's peace. That's legacy. And that doesn't need to be shouted from the rooftops. It just needs to be lived day by day, brick by brick, with unshakable discipline and unwavering faith. So the next time someone tests you, disrespects you, or doubts you, remember this: they're not your enemy, they're your reminder. A reminder to stay focused, a reminder to stay in your lane, a reminder that your mission is too big to be distracted by small minds. Let them talk, let them plot, let them gossip. Your future doesn't depend on their opinion, it depends on your action. So act like you've already won. Move like the battle's already over. Walk like your name is already written on the victory. And don't just believe in your success. Become it. Quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. The most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who knows they don't need to speak to be felt. Be that person. Be the one who doesn't react to the chaos because they've already conquered it within. Be the one who doesn't clap back at hate because they're too busy building love. Be the one who doesn't scream their truth because they live it every day. That's the energy that changes rooms. That's the presence that shifts atmospheres. And when you show up like that, consistent, calm, powerful, you don't just win the battle, you win the war. And you do it without ever raising your voice. Now, let me tell you something most people ignore. The loudest statement you'll ever make doesn't come from your mouth. It comes from your eyes and your posture. Before you even speak a word, your body has already said everything. Walk in a room with your shoulders back, chin up, chest open, and eyes steady. And people will feel you before they hear you. That's presence. That's power. That's nonverbal dominance. It's not arrogance. It's ownership. It's the energy of someone who knows who they are, even if they're still becoming it. You don't need designer clothes, flashy jewelry, or loud talk. You just need alignment between your body, your spirit, and your mind. Because when those things line up, the world pays attention. We live in a world where people are screaming to be noticed, but the ones who truly lead, who truly influence, who truly command respect, they do it without raising their voice. They do it with their presence. And your presence begins with posture. How you sit, how you walk, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. Straighten your back. That's self-respect. Lift your head. That's self-belief. Plant your feet. That's self-trust. Hold your gaze. That's self-assurance. When your body says, I'm here, I belong, I'm ready, people don't question it. They respond to it. And when you pair that with intentional eye contact, you don't just show confidence, you transfer it. Eye contact is the secret language of the bold. It's how you say, I see you, but I'm not moved by you. It's how you say, I'm not backing down. I'm grounded in truth. You don't have to stare aggressively. You don't have to dominate anyone. Just hold your gaze long enough to let your energy speak. That calm, focused eye contact tells the room, you're not afraid of being seen. You're not hiding. You're not pretending. You're present, locked in, connected. And people feel that, they trust that, they follow that. Because in a world full of distraction and fake smiles, someone who can look you in the eye and stand tall is someone who can be counted on. Posture isn't just physical, it's spiritual. It reflects your inner climate. Slumped shoulders say, I've given up. Nervous feet say, I don't belong. Darting eyes say, I'm unsure. But when you align your body like you've already won, you begin to believe it. And belief changes everything. Your mind starts saying, maybe I can. Your spirit whispers, you were born for this. And your body follows that truth. When your physical posture shifts, your emotional posture follows. That's why the smallest adjustment, pulling your shoulders back, lifting your head, can change your whole day. It's not about looking good for others. It's about standing up for yourself, inside out. Think about the greatest leaders, the most magnetic people. They don't walk in rooms begging for attention. They walk in with such alignment that attention follows them. Their back is straight because they've been through storms and still stand tall. Their eyes meet yours because they've faced pain and still choose courage. Their feet are planted because they know where they're headed, even if no one else sees it yet. That's what you're building. You're building that energy. And it doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from being more intentional, more aware of how your energy enters a space, more disciplined in how you carry your body when life tries to wear you down. And when life does come for you, and it will, that posture becomes your anchor. When your heart is tired, when your mind is overwhelmed, when your soul feels unseen, your posture reminds you that you're still here, that you can still stand, that even if you're shaken, you're not broken. So stand tall even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because the world is watching how you show up when you have every reason to fold. And when you stand strong, not out of pride, but out of purpose, that's when the world sees your true strength. Not in your words, but in your posture. Not in your shout, but in your silence. And your eyes, your eyes are windows to everything you've survived. They tell stories your lips don't need to repeat. They show truth, they show pain, they show fire. And when you've done the inner work, your eyes become fierce, not because you want to scare people, but because you know yourself. That kind of eye contact humbles people. It grounds people. It connects people. So look people in the eye, not with ego, but with certainty. Let them see that you're awake, that you're aware, that you're present. Because being present in a distracted world, that's power. That's rare. That's leadership. This is how you walk into rooms you used to feel small in with quiet power. This is how you change the energy of a conversation without speaking, by how you stand, how you breathe, how you look. You walk like the room needs you. You look like you're not asking permission. You sit like your voice matters, even if you say nothing. That's the transformation. That's the posture of purpose. Because the moment you align how you feel inside with how you carry yourself on the outside, people start to respond differently. Doors open, respect rises, the energy shifts, and you don't even have to say a word. So practice it every day, in the mirror, on the street, in the elevator, in the meeting. Practice walking like you've already arrived, like you've already conquered the fear, like you've already stepped into the version of yourself you've been dreaming about. Not for them, not to prove anything, but because you owe it to yourself to show up fully, completely, unapologetically. Shoulders back, head up, eyes locked, heart open, spirit grounded. Let your posture remind the world and remind you that you are not here to shrink. You are not here to hide. You are here to stand. And once you master that, you won't need to announce your presence. You'll be presence. You won't need to fight for a seat at the table. You'll walk in like the table was waiting for you, because the way you carry yourself tells the world exactly how to treat you. And when you perfect that energy through eye contact, through posture, you don't just influence others, you influence yourself. You command your courage. You activate your strength. And every room you enter becomes better simply because you entered it. Standing tall, eyes forward, with a spirit that doesn't flinch. There comes a time in your life when silence becomes your greatest weapon. When walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. See, not every battle is meant to be fought. Not every insult deserves a reply. Not every room deserves your voice. Some spaces are too small for the weight of your worth. And when you know what you carry, you don't need to explain it to people committed to misunderstanding you. You just rise, turn your back, and walk out with your dignity intact. Because sometimes the strongest statement you'll ever make is the one you don't say. The moment you refuse to shrink yourself to argue with someone who'll never see your value. People will test you, they'll bait you, they'll twist your piece into something to poke at. But you've got to be bigger than the moment. You've got to know when words would only stain your spirit. You ever notice how lions don't respond to barking dogs? They just keep walking because they know who they are. That's what you've got to become. Unbothered, not because you're numb, but because you're wise, because your peace is expensive and your energy ain't free. You don't owe everybody a response. You don't owe everybody an explanation. Sometimes your silence is the sermon. People think power is found in how loud you get, but real strength, it shows up when you're quiet in the face of foolishness. When someone tries to disrespect you and you look them dead in the eye. Not with rage, but with stillness. That's power. That's presence. You're not avoiding the fight because you can't win. You're avoiding it because the win isn't worth the cost. Because you've grown. Because you know who you are. And once you reach that level of self-respect, something shifts. You start realizing that your presence alone is the response. That leaving is the loudest thing you can do. Your silence doesn't mean defeat, it means direction. It means you value your purpose more than proving a point. And sometimes walking away is the most respectful thing you can do for yourself. See, it's not about being the bigger person for them. It's about being the wiser person for you. Because peace of mind is worth more than the last word. And when you walk away without clapping back, without cursing, without giving them the show they were hoping for, that's when you win. That's when your worth speaks without ever saying a syllable. That's when the world learns you don't argue with noise. And I know it's hard. I know it burns sometimes when they twist your name, when they throw dirt on your story, when they try to pull you down just to feel taller. But don't take the bait. Don't trade your crown for a moment of revenge. Because when you know your value, you stop throwing pearls at pigs. You stop explaining yourself to people who already made up their minds. You stop engaging with small minds when your vision is big, and you don't do it out of pride, you do it out of purpose. Because you've got better things to build than bitterness. Let them talk, let them assume, let them laugh. Your silence will echo louder than their noise ever could. Because when God elevates you, he doesn't need your mouth. He needs your maturity. And maturity sounds like this. I see what you're doing, and I'm not going there. Maturity says, I could respond, but I don't need to. Maturity says, my peace matters more than proving I'm right. And when you walk away, not from weakness, but from wisdom, the world starts to see you differently. Not as passive, but as powerful. Not as quiet, but as composed. And that's a different kind of strength. Your worth is too sacred to throw it at chaos, too holy to let it get tangled in drama. And I'm telling you now, the more you evolve, the more silent you'll become. You'll stop explaining yourself. You'll stop defending every decision. You'll stop reacting to every critic. You'll learn to sit back and watch with peace in your chest and fire in your eyes. Because silence is not emptiness, it's alignment. You owe it to your future not to bleed out in battles that won't build you. You owe it to your calling not to engage in conflict that doesn't match your character. So when people try to pull you into petty fights, walk away with grace. When someone raises their voice, lower yours. When someone speaks from ego, respond with presence. And when someone crosses the line, draw a new one. And walk beyond it, because where you're headed, you won't need to argue for attention. You won't need to demand respect. You'll command it just by how you carry yourself in silence. Don't waste your breath proving your value to people who lost the privilege of hearing your truth. Save your strength, save your voice, save your fire for the purpose that truly deserves it. Because when you walk away, you're not losing, you're leading. You're setting a standard, you're building boundaries, you're showing the world how someone who truly values themselves moves. With quiet confidence, not loud chaos. And eventually, those who doubted you will realize they couldn't shake you, not because you didn't feel it, but because you refused to be moved by it. That's power. That's poise. That's purpose in motion. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this. You're not obligated to respond just because they made noise. Your energy is sacred. Your growth is precious. Your future is waiting. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your soul, for your peace, for your future, is to turn around, lift your head, and walk away like the room never deserved you in the first place. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to argue to be understood. The loudest voice in the room isn't always the one that's speaking. It's the one that's showing up day in and day out, doing what they said they would do with no need for validation. That's consistency. That's the quiet strength that doesn't need to announce itself. Because when you commit to something with every ounce of your being, the world sees it. They feel it. They can't ignore it. And you don't need to prove it to them. Your actions will do the talking. Consistency is the bridge between intention and respect. It's the path that leads you to where words never could. In a world that values instant gratification, consistency is a rare and valuable trait. People are quick to chase shortcuts, quick to give up, quick to talk, but slow to act. But those who stay, those who persist, those who keep showing up even when it's tough, they command the deepest kind of respect. Not because they're perfect, but because they're persistent. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. Your strength lies in showing up when it's hard, showing up when no one is watching, showing up because you made a promise to yourself. And that's a promise that the world eventually notices. Consistency builds trust. It builds belief. When you're consistent, people know they can count on you whether you're around or not. They don't need to ask. They don't need to wonder. Your reliability speaks for itself. You become someone whose word is as good as gold. It's not just about being dependable, though. It's about being dependable when everything else around you is unstable. It's about being a rock in the middle of the storm. When the winds howl and everyone else falters, consistency stands strong, and that's the kind of strength that earns respect without a single word. Consistency isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing it repeatedly. It's about committing to the process, even when the results aren't immediate, even when the world seems to overlook your efforts. It's about showing up with the same energy, the same commitment every single day. People notice. They may not always acknowledge it at first, but trust me, they notice, because when you're consistent, your actions speak louder than their doubt. You become someone they can rely on, someone who doesn't need to say, I'll do this. Your work says it for you. And that's where the respect begins to grow. You see, words fade. Words are fleeting. Anyone can talk. Anyone can say the right things at the right time. But consistency, that's a different animal. That's a trait that separates the dreamers from the doers. It's the thing that takes you from being someone who just wishes for success to someone who commands it. When you stay committed to the process, when you keep showing up despite the setbacks, you show the world that you're not just in it for the moment, you're in it for the long haul. And that's what people respect. The ones who can endure. The ones who can keep going when the easy way out looks tempting. People will test you. They'll doubt you. They'll question your resolve. But when you've built a foundation of consistency, you don't need to respond. You don't need to explain yourself. Your actions will answer the questions they have about you. It's not your words that will convince them. It's your results. And when you prove time and time again that you're capable of following through, they'll stop questioning you. They'll stop doubting you. And you won't have to say a word. Your consistency will do all the talking. And that's the kind of respect you don't have to chase. It comes to you. What's beautiful about consistency is it's universal. It works in every area of life. Works in business, relationships, fitness, personal growth, everything. Consistency builds the foundation for greatness. It may not show up overnight, but when it does, it's unshakable. A house built on consistency stands strong through every storm. You'll reach heights that seem impossible when you stay the course, when you keep showing up and putting in the work, even when no one else is watching. And that's how you earn respect without saying a single word. You build something so solid that it speaks for itself. Here's the truth. Success doesn't come from the big moments. It doesn't come from the bursts of inspiration or the high energy speeches. It comes from the little moments. The ones when you get up early, when you push through the fatigue, when you put in the work even though no one's cheering you on. That's consistency. That's the quiet force that builds momentum. And over time, the respect you've earned through that consistency will far outweigh anything you could have said or shouted. Because when you show up day after day, proving that you're reliable, that you're committed, that you're in it for the long run, that's when people start to take you seriously. They start to see you for who you really are. And let me tell you, there's power in that quiet. There's power in showing the world that you don't need to talk about your worth. You don't need to argue for your place. Your actions speak for you. You walk into a room and they know who you are because you've earned it. Not with loud boasts, not with empty promises, but with every single day of relentless effort. When you are consistent, you don't have to prove anything. Your results are proof enough. And people will respect you, not for the noise you make, but for the solid, unwavering effort you bring. That's how respect is built without conversation. When you embrace the power of consistency, you stop worrying about what others think. You stop seeking approval. You stop begging for validation. You just keep moving forward. You keep your eyes on the prize, and with each step, you earn more respect. With each step, you become someone people look up to. Not because you asked for it, but because you earned it through action. Because you did what you said you would do, when you said you would do it, and you did it with the same determination and commitment every single day, and that's the kind of respect that lasts. There's a strength that doesn't need to raise its voice. There's a power that doesn't need to show itself. It's the kind of strength that flows from a place so deep, so rooted that no storm can move it. It's called spiritual stillness, a quietness of the soul that stands firm no matter how loud the world gets. When everything around you is chaotic, when the pressures of life try to break you, spiritual stillness is the rock that keeps you. It's the knowing that you are grounded in something greater than the noise. You don't have to shout, you don't have to fight, you don't have to defend. You just stand firm, unwavering in your belief because you know where your power comes from. That stillness isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form. And the world can feel that power even if it's silent. In the world today, everything is about motion. It's about the hustle, the chase, the noise. We're told to move faster, to rise higher, to never stop. But here's the truth. True power doesn't come from endless motion. It comes from stillness. When you can sit in silence and find peace within, you tap into a power that cannot be shaken. Spiritual stillness is the ability to center yourself, to disconnect from the noise and chaos, and to listen to the quiet voice inside that guides you. When you're still, you align yourself with a greater purpose, a higher calling. You become unshakable because you no longer need the external world to validate your worth. You know who you are, you know whose you are. And that's where true strength is born. People look for power in external things, in money, in status, in recognition. But spiritual stillness teaches us that true power isn't external at all. It's internal. It's the peace you carry inside when everything else is falling apart. It's the confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, your foundation is unshakable. Spiritual stillness doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't need to argue, fight, or convince. It just is. And because of that, it commands respect. People feel that calmness, that quiet strength, and they're drawn to it. Not because you're loud or flashy, but because you're grounded in something deeper. And that is the kind of power that lasts. It's not that you don't feel the pressure. It's not that you don't face challenges. It's not that you're immune to the storms of life. But when you have spiritual stillness, you don't react to the storm. You remain. You stand your ground. You know that the storm may shake the leaves, but it won't uproot the tree. When your spirit is still, you understand that life's difficulties are temporary. They don't define you. They don't dictate your peace. Spiritual stillness allows you to move through challenges with grace. You don't have to fight for your peace. You don't have to defend your calm. It's unshakable because it's not dependent on anything outside of you. It's rooted in who you are at your core. And that stillness is a choice. It's a decision to center yourself, to not be overwhelmed by the noise of the world. You choose not to react to every attack, not to give your energy to every distraction, not to engage in every argument. You choose to let the chaos around you unfold, but you stay rooted in your truth. You don't let it shake you because you know that everything you need is already within you. Spiritual stillness means knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. It means understanding that the most powerful thing you can do in a given moment may not be to act, but to simply breathe, to stay centered, and to trust the process. When your spirit is still, you stop chasing after approval. You stop trying to fit into boxes that others have created for you. You stop reacting to the judgments and criticisms of others. Instead, you become the source of your own strength. You stop giving your power away to people who don't understand your worth. You stop letting the opinions of others sway your decisions. Spiritual stillness makes you solid. It helps you stand tall in the face of adversity, knowing that your worth isn't determined by anyone else's perception of you. You have a quiet confidence because you're connected to something greater than the opinions of the world. And in that connection, you find your unshakable power. Spiritual stillness doesn't just protect your peace, it protects your energy. When you're still, you conserve your energy. You don't waste it on meaningless conflicts. You don't expend it on drama, gossip, or negativity. You understand that your energy is precious, and you choose to guard it. You choose to invest it in things that matter: your purpose, your growth, your peace. And as you do this, your energy becomes magnetic. People are drawn to you not because you're flashy or loud, but because you carry a calm power that others long for. You attract the right things into your life because you're vibrating at a frequency of peace and purpose. And that's where true strength lies. In a world full of distractions, spiritual stillness is revolutionary. It's the antidote to the constant hustle and noise that surrounds us. It's a declaration that you are not here to just follow the crowd, to react to every situation, to keep up with every trend. You're here to stand strong in your own truth. You're here to be anchored, to move with purpose, to rise above the chaos. Spiritual stillness doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply about your peace, about your purpose, about your future. And you refuse to let anything or anyone disturb that peace. You protect it with your life. When you have spiritual stillness, you are no longer controlled by fear or anxiety. You learn to trust the timing of your life. You stop rushing, you stop forcing things to happen, and you stop trying to control the outcome. Instead, you surrender. You trust that what is meant for you will come at the right time and in the right way. Spiritual stillness gives you the patience to wait. It teaches you to trust the process, to understand that everything happens for a reason. When you are still, you can see with clarity. You can hear with discernment, and you can move forward with confidence because you know that everything you need is already within you. Spiritual stillness is the most powerful weapon you'll ever wield. It's the strength that comes not from how much you do, but from how much you don't do. It's the power that doesn't need to be loud to be heard. It's the quiet force that moves mountains, that changes lives, that transforms situations. When you master the art of spiritual stillness, you become unshakable. Nothing can disturb your peace. Nothing can take away your power. You are grounded in who you are, and that is a force that no one can break. This stillness, this power is yours for the taking. And once you have it, no storm, no challenge, no person can ever make you tremble. Mastering the art of nonverbal influence is one of the most potent skills you can develop in any situation. It's a skill that doesn't require words, yet it speaks louder than any speech or argument ever could. In every interaction, we are constantly sending signals, whether we realize it or not. The way we carry ourselves, the way we position our bodies, the way we make eye contact. All of these nonverbal cues can make a significant impact. Nonverbal influence is not about manipulation. It's about cultivating a presence that commands respect and fosters trust. When you understand the power of your body language, your silence, your posture, and even the way you breathe, you unlock a deeper layer of communication that is often more influential than anything you could ever say. People don't just hear your words. They feel your presence, your confidence, and your composure. And this is often what determines the outcome of any situation. The ability to influence without speaking is rooted in self-awareness and emotional intelligence, allowing you to read and adapt to the energy around you without uttering a single word. When you step into a room, your energy should precede you. It's the subtle cues you give off that immediately affect how others perceive you. If you walk into a space hunched over, avoiding eye contact and projecting insecurity, people will pick up on that energy, and it will shape the dynamic of the entire interaction. On the other hand, if you enter a room with a strong posture, shoulders back, and head held high, others will immediately take note of your confidence. The simple act of standing tall without saying a word can shift the power in the room. Your posture alone has the ability to make others gravitate towards you or turn away. It's about owning the space you occupy. Nonverbal influence doesn't demand attention, but it commands respect. It's the ability to make your presence felt without the need for force or aggression. This quiet power is rooted in a profound sense of self-assurance and emotional control, something that can make a world of difference in how any interaction unfolds. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools in nonverbal communication. It is said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and this couldn't be more accurate. The way you use eye contact in a room can determine the flow of energy in any conversation. A person who avoids eye contact may come across as insecure or untrustworthy, while someone who maintains strong yet comfortable eye contact can exude confidence, trustworthiness, and control. When you meet someone's gaze and hold it, you're not just looking at them, you're telling them without a word that you are present, engaged, and in control. It conveys authority without the need for dominance. and it lets others know that you are not afraid to stand your ground. Mastering the art of eye contact is not just about maintaining focus, but also about knowing when to break it and when to let the gaze linger. The subtle shifts in eye contact can send powerful signals to the people around you and influence how they perceive your intentions and capabilities. Nonverbal influence also extends to how you handle silence. Silence can be uncomfortable for many people, but when used effectively, it can be an incredibly powerful tool. When you find yourself in a tense or uncertain situation, remaining silent allows you to process what's happening and observe others without feeling the need to immediately react. This gives you the power to stay calm and composed while everyone else around you may be scrambling for words. In a negotiation or a heated conversation, silence can be used strategically to create space for the other person to fill. This forces them to make the next move, and it allows you to control the tempo of the conversation. Rather than rushing to fill every silence with words, learn to embrace it. Silence can signal authority, thoughtfulness, and emotional control. It shows that you are in no rush to react and that you are confident enough to let things unfold at their own pace. This ability to sit in stillness and allow the environment to speak for itself is a cornerstone of nonverbal influence. Your facial expressions are also a key component of nonverbal communication. Without uttering a single word, your face can convey a range of emotions that others will pick up on instantly. A slight raise of an eyebrow, the tightening of your jaw, or the curve of your lips can all send powerful messages. The human face is capable of expressing a vast array of emotions, from joy and empathy to anger and disdain, and these expressions can either support or undermine the words you speak. If you want to be a master of nonverbal influence, you need to be aware of the subtle signals your face is giving off, even when you're not consciously trying to express anything. For instance, a genuine smile can disarm a tense situation, while a furrowed brow can signal deep focus or even frustration. By learning to control your facial expressions, you can amplify the message you want to convey and prevent others from misinterpreting your intentions. A calm, relaxed face exudes confidence and emotional control, while an anxious or tense face can make others feel uneasy. The power of facial expression is that it can influence how others feel without you needing to say a word. Another significant aspect of nonverbal influence is your physical proximity to others. The space you maintain between yourself and others in a room can communicate a lot about your comfort level, your confidence, and your respect for personal boundaries. If you stand too close to someone, it may be perceived as aggressive or intrusive. If you stand too far away, it can seem distant or disinterested. The key is to understand the dynamics of personal space and adjust accordingly. In social or professional settings, mastering the art of physical space allows you to regulate the flow of energy and control the interactions around you. When you stand tall and close to someone with confidence, you automatically take up more space in the room. And this nonverbal cue often causes others to take notice and respect you. But it's important to read the room and adjust accordingly. By maintaining the right distance and posture, you can subtly influence how others feel and react to you. One of the most underrated aspects of nonverbal influence is the tone and pace of your breathing. How you breathe can signal your emotional state and level of control. Slow, deep breaths convey calmness and confidence, while shallow, rapid breathing can signal anxiety or stress. When you learn to control your breath, you control your emotional state, and by extension, the energy you project into the room. People often mirror the emotional state of those around them. So if you remain calm and collected, others are more likely to follow suit. Slow, steady breathing helps you maintain clarity in tense situations, preventing knee-jerk reactions and allowing you to think more clearly. The rhythm of your breath affects your voice, your posture, and even your ability to remain present in the moment. By mastering the pace of your breathing, you align yourself with a deeper sense of control. And in doing so, you harness a quiet but powerful influence over the environment around you. The way you use gestures also plays a crucial role in nonverbal influence. While words can be misunderstood or forgotten, gestures are often more direct and memorable. Subtle hand movements, nods, or a slight tilt of your head can communicate volumes. A firm handshake, for example, can express confidence and professionalism, while a weak or limp handshake can signal insecurity. The way you use your hands in conversation can either reinforce your message or undermine it. Gestures can also make you appear more approachable and engaged, helping you to build rapport with others. However, they need to be used with care and intention. Overusing gestures can distract from your message, while underusing them can make you appear distant or disinterested. The key is balance. using your gestures to support your nonverbal message and amplify the emotions or intentions behind your words. Nonverbal influence isn't just about controlling how others perceive you. It's also about reading the room and adapting your behavior accordingly. The true power of nonverbal communication lies in your ability to be fully present and attuned to the energy of those around you. When you can pick up on subtle cues, such as shifts in body language or changes in facial expressions, you can adjust your own energy to match the situation. If you sense tension in the room, for example, you can use calm body language and slow, deliberate gestures to bring a sense of peace to the environment. If you notice someone feeling defensive or uncomfortable, you can adjust your approach to make them feel more at ease. By paying attention to these small details, you become a master of influence, shaping the atmosphere around you without ever uttering a word. Finally, nonverbal influence allows you to remain in control even in the most challenging situations. When faced with conflict, stress, or uncertainty, your ability to maintain composure and project confidence can make all the difference. By staying calm, using measured gestures, and controlling your facial expressions, you send a message that you are not easily shaken. In times of crisis or high pressure, this unspoken strength often has a far greater impact than any words could. People are drawn to those who exude calm and control, and they will look to you for guidance. Nonverbal influence gives you the power to lead from a place of quiet strength. And it is this strength that can often determine the outcome of any situation. Throughout life, we are faced with challenges, chaos, and noise that constantly try to throw us off balance. But there's a strength that goes beyond the noise, a quiet power that doesn't need to be loud or flashy. It is the power of spiritual stillness. This stillness is not a sign of weakness. It's the deepest form of strength you can possess. It's an internal power that doesn't need validation from the outside world. When you are spiritually still, you become unshakable, no matter what life throws at you. Like in a world that moves faster each day, where everyone is chasing after success, approval, and recognition, spiritual stillness gives you the ability to remain grounded. It allows you to center yourself, disconnect from the noise, and tap into a source of strength that is always available to you. When you are still, you don't react impulsively or get lost in the chaos. Instead, you find peace in your core. You realize that your true power comes not from the world around you, but from within. The stillness doesn't mean you are indifferent or passive. On the contrary, it means you have the ability to respond to life situations with wisdom, grace, and confidence. You don't get caught up in the drama or the distractions. You remain focused on your purpose and aligned with your higher calling. And when you stand firm in this stillness, people will sense your strength and respect your peace. You don't have to shout or fight for your place in the world. Your presence alone speaks volumes. Spiritual stillness is not just about avoiding chaos or remaining calm in tough times. It's about mastering your energy. It's about knowing when to speak, when to act, and just as importantly, when to remain silent. It's about protecting your energy from negativity and choosing to invest it in what truly matters. When you live in this stillness, you begin to attract the right opportunities and the right people. You move through life with purpose and a deep sense of peace. By embracing this stillness, you are not giving up or avoiding the world. You are empowering yourself to navigate life from a place of strength, clarity, and wisdom. It's an internal power that cannot be shaken by external forces. The more you practice it, the more unshakable you become. Life may try to throw storms your way, but when you're rooted in spiritual stillness, you remain steadfast, unmovable, and powerful. So let this be your call to embrace the quiet power within. Don't chase the loud, fleeting distractions of the world. Instead, choose to remain still, centered, and grounded in your truth. Remember, your strength is not measured by how loud you are or how much you do. It's measured by the peace you carry within and the calm you exude, even in the most challenging situations. Thank you for your time today. May you walk in strength and peace, and may spiritual stillness guide you on your journey. Stay grounded, stay powerful. Remember that your true power lies in your ability to remain still, no matter what life brings your way. God bless you.